There are places in this world with secrets waiting to be unraveled. One of those mysteries lies in Ecuador, the country that holds the legend of King Atahualpa and the lost gold of the Incas. Captured by Spanish conquistadors almost 500 years ago, Atahualpa offered gold in exchange for his freedom. Gold was gathered from all corners of the empire, but to no avail. Atahualpa was killed while the treasure was en route. Now the question remains, what happened to the Inca gold? Many theories exist, but none have led to answers. So join us on our journey as we uncover the truth behind the legend. We arrive in an isolated world in a land of windswept mountains, surrounded by beauty and in search of a mystery. This is a story of treasure hunting, a story of discovery. Our goal here is to find the facts hidden behind this fascinating country. We're in Ecuador, a land of controversy, history, culture, and myth, where Spanish conquistadors once swept through its lands looking for fame and fortune. And of all the stories of the past, none is as impressive and famous as the massive Inca gold treasure described in Valverde's Detour1, the legendary map sought by treasure hunters from all over the world. The Inca Empire spanned 2,500 miles from southern Colombia to Chile. Ecuador was once the northern section of the Inca Empire, one of the great pre-Columbian civilizations of the continent, whose achievements still amaze and awe today. In 1533, this gold treasure was in transit by mule to pay for the ransom of Inca King Atahualpa, as the greedy Spaniards held him prisoner. This amount of gold would be worth approximately $1.3 billion today. To learn more about the story of Atahualpa, we met with Inca expert Jorge Perez.
The most interesting thing about Inca gold is the whole story of Atahualpa and Atahualpa's gold, which shows how the Inca gold was brutally looted and sent to Europe.
The legend begins almost 500 years ago, when the Spanish arrived in the land now known as Peru. And according to Perez, the capturing of Atahualpa was based on a misunderstanding.
Every legend dealing with gold and the treasure is based on a single event, which was the capture of Atahualpa by the Spaniards. Atahualpa arrives with an entourage of dancers and singers. As they enter Cajamarca Square, the Spaniards think they're facing an army carrying weapons, so they start firing cannons, rifles, and sent their horseback soldiers to attack these people who were cultured people. They killed them without mercy, and in this episode, they captured Atahualpa.
Held in captivity, Atahualpa realizes the Spaniards wanted gold and offers them a huge amount in exchange for his freedom. Runners for the emperor reached the four corners of the empire with a message that every gold item was to be gathered and sent in.
The gold they were gathering was archaeological gold. It was beautifully sculpted. Jewels, earrings, necklaces, I mean real gold work.
But while the gold was trickling in, the Spaniards, not understanding the long distances over rough terrain, became impatient and killed Atahualpa, not knowing that a large sum of gold was bound for them.
While the gold was being brought to Cajamarca, news comes that the Spaniards have killed Atahualpa. And the news of Atahualpa's death spreads throughout the empire. And most of the Incas, with the uncertainty caused by the death of the Inca emperor, buried the gold in the nearest hiding place they could find.
Many experts even dispute the existence of the large sum of Inca gold that never reached Spanish hands. Some even think it's already been found. Our goal here in Ecuador is to find out. But while searching for the lost Inca treasure, we became immersed in present culture, in the people, landscape, architecture, food, and art. It quickly became apparent to us that the Inca legend is only a fraction of the vast wealth that Ecuador holds. And like the Inca runners who scoured the four corners to save Atahualpa, our team covered the corners of Ecuador to unearth a country full of stories and legends, bountiful with diversity and beauty. Our adventure begins in Quito, where Atahualpa once reigned in what is now the capital of Ecuador. It is the ideal location to learn more about this famous missing Inca treasure and the Ecuadorian way of life. Much of Quito's architecture has European influences due to Incan General Rumiñahui, who destroyed the city of Quito before the arrival of the Spaniards and denied them the opportunity to plunder the Inca northern capital. One of the bravest Inca leaders, General Rumiñahui, is a historical figure of great complexity. He made the decision to leave nothing standing for the invading Spanish forces. When we come back, we begin our quest in Quito at La Compañía Church, a church with golden walls, walls that some believe contain the same gold used in vain to save Atahualpa.
It's a beautiful church. We believe it's one of the greatest Jesuit churches in the world.
And while in Quito, we will learn more about Guayasamín, a pioneer in Ecuadorian art and legend in his own right. Ecuador is the South American country that divides the northern and southern hemisphere. It is a country that has 4 distinct environments: rainforest, highland, coast, and Galapagos. These 4 environments have a wealth of variety and landscapes. Quito is the capital, and with an altitude towering at almost 9,000 feet, adjusting to that elevation is a daunting task. We stayed in the heart of the city, in midst of the many churches and colonial buildings Quito is known for. The history is undeniably felt throughout the streets. To learn more about Quito, we met with Cristina Guerrero de Miranda, the Director of Tourism in Quito.
Quito is the first World Heritage City in the world, the first to be named 30 years ago. So that will tell you exactly what Quito is. The beginning of Quito, it's very old. It starts with the pre-Inca cultures. Then came the Incas, who conquered the Quitus, and after that the Spanish came into Quito. Sebastián de Benalcázar was the one that conquered them and started the city of Quito. The name stands for the old culture Quito.
Of all the churches, Quito arguably centers on the majestic church La Compañía de Jesús and its golden walls. Many believe that the ancient Incan treasure is throughout the gilded interior of La Compañía, but to most, described as Quito's Sistine Chapel, it is arguably considered one of the most beautiful churches in the world. Built in 1605, La Compañía was constructed during Spanish rule. The Spaniards spent 160 years to build La Compañía, which can be seen in the elaborate decorations throughout the church. The sun is a constant theme, an integral Inca symbol. The Spaniards used the sun symbol to entice the indigenous culture to join the church. Our first day ends at our residence in Quito, Patio Andaluz, with a tour from the owner, Francisco Baca.
Well, this hotel, is an historic landmark. It was one of the first houses built in Quito during its foundation, and it has a lot of history. Here lived one vice president, the son of the first president of Ecuador. There were a lot of political meetings here. It took us 3 years to remodel and restore the house. As you can see, we had a lot of history, painters, and a lot of art here. Ecuador is well known for his art history.
But the most important room at the Patio Andaluz is that of master painter and sculptor Oswaldo Guayasamín.
Most important part of the house was the reading room. And right now we call it Guayasamín room because it's the room of our famous painter Osvaldo Guayasamín.
Guayasamín's career spanned over 55 years, beginning in 1942. His work is known to reflect the indigenous lifestyle and poverty he experienced throughout his life. His paintings and sculptures captured the class division and political oppression that was experienced in much of Ecuador and throughout South America. The day of his passing in 1999 was considered a great loss to Ecuador. Guayasamín's influence can be seen throughout Quito. He is indicative of the huge artist community in this beautiful city.
This hotel is 1 block from all the museums and churches, and there are 3 schools really close where students go and learn how to paint, how they used to paint in the colonial area.
Stay with us. When we return, we step outside Quito and into the majestic outskirts of Ecuador. On the way, we get to eat a four-legged delicacy called cuy.